What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about a new Scream interview that's made its way online. This actually comes from HelloSydney.com, which is a great group of people, a great website, and they interviewed the two directors of this film. Now, Bloody Disgusting did kind of a short little piece on the main highlights of the interview, so we're going to read through that, but it's very exciting. This isn't a teaser, this isn't a trailer, but it is, I guess, news, and it is an interview, so it's part of what we talked about a few days ago, and hopefully we see a lot more of this, happening throughout the month of August. But let's read through the couple paragraphs on Bloody Disgusting, and then I'll go over my thoughts of it. So basically, the fan site Hello Sydney just got some fresh insights from the two directors, Matt and Tyler, as well as producer Chad, the three members of the filmmaking group known as Radio Silence. For starters, they promised Scream 2022 is rated R if you had any doubts. Gillett also explains to the site, with all the Scream movies, legacy is very front and center, and they all build so successfully on one another while being totally original in their own right. And that was something that, from the start, we knew was going to be essential in this work, and that was a love letter to all the movies and, of course, to Wes. But we also are going to take some of our own unique risks and carve out its own path in the series. We have to make a movie that's a standalone good movie. It has to be entertaining in and of itself, but also has to be a part of a franchise that has existed for 25 years. For us, it was finding a way to merge those two things. A lot of it came from the script, where the entry point is accessible to everybody. This isn't a movie that you need to have seen 27 other movies to understand, but your experience will be extremely heightened the more knowledge you have of the previous four. He adds, we have a ton of Easter eggs in this thing. He also notes, it wouldn't be a Scream movie if it wasn't self-referential and didn't talk about, where the genre is in a kind of pop culture sense. So I really like those answers, let me tell you. So to be honest with you, one of the things I've really harped on for over a year now on this channel, right, is don't make this new movie just a copy of Scream. And by Scream, I mean the first one, right? It is, I think, the best one. I don't really think you'll have many arguments there. And, would I want to walk out of this movie saying, this was maybe this is the second best only to that one, or maybe this is just as good or better, right? Do we have that discussion when we walk out of this movie? I hope we do. But what I don't want to walk out is being like, well, it was good, but it literally was Scream again. It was like, it was almost like Star Wars Episode 7, which I did actually really enjoy. I still think holds up, but it was literally just a New Hope. It may be a little bit more of an exciting New Hope, but it was just, that's all it was. So I don't want that. I don't want that from this movie. I've never wanted it, and I like their answer. So again, the biggest things, I guess, that came out of this, rated R. Well, obviously, let's move on from there. That they have to build on successfully from the ones that came before it, but they also have to be totally original in their own right. That's important. That's honestly exactly where I've been harping on. You need to respect where it's come from. Like, there's zero doubt about it. There should be references. There should be conversations about characters or things that have happened in these past movies, because it's a universe and things have happened in it. And, obviously it's been many years depending on which, in between the movies that we're talking about, but these things still happen to these characters. So you would expect them to know that, and them to, and not just, I'm not saying like the directors or writers, but the characters, they know what they've gone through. And I hope that they remember, right? But also was going to take some of its own unique risks and carve out a path in the series. Now, I feel like that's I could see like clickbaity titles or people just talking about that specific line, which I do think is important, don't get me wrong. But also I feel like it's kind of obvious. Like, of course, they're not... You can't play it safe, because by making a new movie, you literally have to do things. So, like, characters are going to die, secrets are going to get revealed, twists are going to happen. I mean, when we talk about, like, you can't copy Scream, it is technically impossible to copy it, because you can't bring those characters back from the dead. You can't literally repeat everything about Scream. So even if you do it the same way as Scream, with this, like, two killers and one's connected, and you don't really sense the other one's coming, maybe you do a fake out death with one of them, you pick maybe 5 or 6 of the main elements that were like shocking or twisting about, the original, and you do it again. Technically, that is still doing it, as your own because it's new stuff, but you're gonna have to make decisions. Like if they kill one of the main three, that is a unique risk that they have to make. If they kill a character that they bring in, right? If they bring a character back, like a Kirby, right? We've always talked about that. If you were to bring her back, I mean, you are making a risk because Wes isn't around anymore. And you don't know if there was a 5, would Kirby have returned? Probably, but you don't know that. Okay, so that's what I kind of get out of that one. It's literally in bold in the paragraph, but I do think it is important, but I also think it's kind of obvious. Like, of course, there's going to be things that they do that they have to do that are going to be risks. And obviously, the movie has to be a standalone movie. It has to be entertaining, but it's a movie that you don't need to have seen, a trillion things. Now, I don't really understand that line. This isn't a movie you need to have seen 27 other movies to understand. I get that's like hyperbolic. I get that's like a joke, but there's only been 4. I guess there's like 3 seasons of a TV show. Let's be honest, majority of people that watch these Scream movies probably haven't watched the TV show, so let's for a second pretend they don't exist. It's not the hardest in the world to ask somebody to watch 4 other movies. At the same time, I'm not saying what they're saying is wrong. That is 100% right. When you make a new movie, even if it's in a franchise, but especially a franchise that's been gone for so long, you do have to make it like you can just watch it on its own. It can be a starting point. I kind of wish they would have said that. It could be a starting point for a lot of people, and then it takes off from there into more movies. So that's what I get the sense that this movie was always going to be, right? Now, maybe that takes away from the possibility of bringing back like a dead character, like a Stu, right? Everybody talks about that. Maybe that shuts that down because it's like, well, like if they don't expect you to watch the first Scream, like Easter eggs mentioning him, sure, but like if he's in it, if he's kind of a killer at the end, which I'm not saying he is, I don't think he will be, but you know what I mean? So stuff like that. I understand it. I get it. I think it's a good move, and it's, again, kind of what you would expect. It's not a movie that came out 2 years after Scream 4. If this is a movie that comes out, when the next movie, say there is a next movie, and there is one, like 2 or 3 years after this one, I think you can make a reasonable assumption and say out loud, well, yeah, we kind of expect people to have watched the last one because it was right there. It's been close proximity, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I get it. It's 25 years old. You're going to ask people to watch 1 through 3, and then you have to watch 4. Again, I think it's going to kind of just increase the experience. And then the Easter eggs. Again, I think that's a lot of most likely references to events, to characters, to things like that, which is exciting. Can we get I think Randy reference or like mention is very easy and one of the most obvious things that you could do. Mentioning Stu and Billy, I think, is one of the most obvious. Even, again, talking about Kirby, right? Very easy, very obvious. So very exciting. Again, there was a longer interview, and it's like a 10-minute interview, but those are some of the key points in the interview. Whenever these things happen, I will for sure cover it on the channel. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on so you know when all these videos go up. If you guys want to follow me on any of my social media accounts besides YouTube, right, we have a Twitter, we have a second channel, we have Patreon and YouTube memberships. If you guys want to support us there, you get exclusive stuff back. I do make a Scream video every single Tuesday, and then when this kind of stuff pops up, I try to make it, right after it happens, okay? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video.